Hello everyone and welcome to Zone Training. During this session, we will be covering how to create a new user within the system. To get started, you'll need to log into Zone, and over on the left-hand side, you'll notice a Users area that you'll need to click on and then select Create User. From there, the system will take you to a pop-up where you'll need to select the new user type. For this demonstration, we're going to go ahead and select an agent or create an agent account, since that's really the majority of what we're going to be doing in the system. You'll notice that you have other options that we'll go ahead and review in just a bit. From there, select Start. You'll notice that the username field is not accessible. The system will automatically generate the username and password and email it to the agent. So you will no longer have access to override the password that's generated by the system. And this is just for security reasons. You won't be able to view their password. You will be able to view their username, but not their password. And we'll go over that in more detail in just a bit. So moving on, I'm going to go ahead and update the agent's hire date to January 13th. Then type in the first name, last name, birth date, and address. And you'll notice that as you type in the address, different drop-down options are available that you can go ahead and just click on, and it'll automatically populate the rest of the screen. Moving on to the right-hand side, office info. This should default to the office that you are currently logged into or that you currently have access to. If you do have multiple offices within your company, you can select this plus sign over on the right-hand side, and you will have access to the offices within your company. You will not see this long list here. You'll be able to select that office and then go ahead and add an office. For agent users, of course, they usually primarily have access to just one office within the system, so the defaulted office is normally the correct one. From there, you'll type in the primary phone number and email address. Now, something to note about the personal email address is that this email address has to be completely unique from anyone else in the system. So for teams or maybe husband and wife teams sometimes like to share email addresses. This is a SkySlope requirement. SkySlope is the new transaction management system that's been integrated, and they require each user to have a unique email address. So again, the system will give you an error if you try to create a user with a duplicate email address. So when agents come in to sign up, just remind them when they're filling out that agent information sheet that, if they're coming in as a team, it has to be completely unique from their team members. And over on the right-hand side, you can also add emergency contacts. This isn't a requirement, but if you are adding emergency contacts, it's usually these three fields that you will have on hand. There is a new feature now that adds an email address as well. So I'll go ahead and add that contact. For a referring agent, if this agent was referred by another Realty One Group agent, you can search for that agent by selecting their office and then searching for their name. And again, if this agent is part of a team, you can type in that team name there. Now, you'll notice that you don't have access to the other tabs, public info, programs, billing, documents, or settings yet. And the reason that you don't have access yet is because you need to pre-authorize this agent before we are able to go through the different tabs. And this is related to the Authorize.net integration that really generates a lot of our billing and our automated billing. So in this case, once the account tab is completely filled out, you'll go up here to add and continue. And what that does is it just really gives you access to the other tabs. You've officially onboarded this agent. They have not received their username and password at this point. They will receive it once you complete their entire profile. So now that that's been updated, you'll notice that you now have access to the other tabs. So we'll go ahead and move on to the public info tab. And the public info tab is really where agents should be once they log into the system, they should be going in to update their picture, their bio, website designations, all of this information. Any information that was previously in MyRog is being converted over. So that should all still be in here. We encourage agents to update this frequently. There is a live feed from Zone to realty1group.com. So now when agents come in here to update their profile, there is all of the information that's updated here by an agent does get sent to a pending profile area where someone in your office, typically an admin, someone who has admin privileges to the system, would go in and review their picture, click on their website, make sure everything that they are updating here is appropriate, and would then, once approved, gets automatically pushed to the site. So again, there is another video that goes over that process in detail that you're free to reference as well. So moving on to the programs area. The programs area has been separated into two separate sections. The first beginning with the automatic enrollment programs. So these are programs that an agent is automatically enrolled in. You'll notice that some of these might not pertain, or they might not apply to your office, such as print director, key fobs. Those are being removed if they don't apply to your office. So please disregard. It does state that they're enrolled. It won't charge them. It won't do anything at this time. This is something that IT is currently working on. So don't worry about that at this moment. It will be updated soon. And then at the bottom, there's the optional enrollment programs. And these are the programs that really have to do with billing, maybe how much an agent is billed every month, or how much of their commission we need to deduct on a closing. And this can usually be found in their independent contractor agreement when they first sign up with the company. So if the agent signed up for the mentee program, they would have to be enrolled in the mentor program. Maybe the broker and agent negotiated a cap in transaction fees. The system will calculate that based on the information that you type in here. You might have received an agent garnishment for an agent that's already enrolled. This is where you would actually enroll that agent in that program as well. In the how-to guides, there are screenshots of each program with detailed instructions on how to go through this process. So if you have any questions, this is there are a lot of fields on these. It's usually one-time setup. So you set it up one time, you don't really have to worry about it unless you have to unenroll an agent, then you would have to come back to this section, but please reference those how-to guides. Moving on to the billing area. Now the billing area has changed a little bit, comparing it back to MyRog again. You'll notice that you do not currently have access to invoice an agent. You do not currently have access to create any invoices at this time. Now, due to the Authorize.net integration, what Authorize.net requires is that an agent have a credit card on file prior to being able to create an invoice. So I'm going to go ahead and update the card number and credit card information for this agent. And again, we have a payment enrollment form template that you are normally having the agent fill out at this time. And that's where you're gathering this information from. I'm going to go ahead and fill out their first and last name, the expiration date, and the last three on the card. The billing address on the right does not have to be filled out if it matches the address that you typed into the account tab. Now, if it's different, then you do have to add that information here. So from here, I'm going to go ahead and authorize the credit card. And by authorizing the credit card, you'll know what it does is it sends it to authorize.net and you receive a validation. Now, once this card is validated, you will have to come up here to the top and save. And by saving, what you're doing is you're just saving that credit card on file now. Because we are in the staging site, I will have to manually refresh this page. Now you'll notice that we have access to the Make Payment, Create Invoice, and Create Refund buttons. For new hires, new agents that are being hired on, the first invoice has to be manually created. So sign-up fees, the site access fee, all of the first-time payments do have to be manually invoiced. So I'm going to go ahead and select Create Invoice. And I'm going to leave the due date and the late date, which are just defaulted by the system. And then select Add Line Item. For type, you'll notice that you have a few options here. IT is working on adding more line item types here. So look out for those, especially at sign up. We have a few more that we need. I'm going to go ahead and select site access dues. And I'll default the start date to the 17th through the end of the month. So just the remaining balance of January is what I'm going to go ahead and charge them for. You'll notice that the system prorates that amount automatically. You have an option to waive this item if necessary, and also add a note to the invoice. And then you would go ahead and save. From here, you would select Create Invoice. And you'll notice that the system now generates an invoice number, gives you some details about the due date, and the status as pending. Now, in order to make a payment, you do have to go through the process of waiting until that invoice is marked as open. Once the status is marked as open, which typically takes authorize.net about 24 hours, so you should have access to run the credit card the next business day, you would come here and select the checkbox over on the left-hand side and then select Make a Payment. There are some enhancements that we are looking into. Keep in mind this is the first version and we're going to be really looking for your input on the different aspects of enrolling agents and all of what's contained in that. Now moving on to the documents area. This is where you will select or type in more information about the agent, public ID, license information, that's very important, license number, expiration date, W-9 information. And then at the bottom, the user documents section. This is the area where you will upload a copy of the agent files, such as their independent contractor agreement, a copy of their license, anything that you need to keep on file. You can either drag and drop documents into this area, or you can select the button and upload a document. And there is a PDF file splitter that's available. You can either select to just upload the document as a bulk upload, or launch the file splitter. And in this case, you'll notice that there are a few options in document type. And what we've done here is we've just generated a really general list of what you will normally keep on file. We understand that each office might have different requirements. So this will be something that will be customizable eventually per office. For these documents, I'm going to go ahead and say that the first page is the agent information page, and the second page is their license information. Then I'll select upload file. And the last tab is the settings tab. Now, we left the settings area for last on purpose. We don't anticipate you making a lot of changes in this area for a number of reasons. One, an agent's role is really predefined as far as what they're able to do in the system. Now, when you're creating user accounts for employees or someone who needs more access to the system, you'll notice that you're able to add multiple roles to a user's account, such as accounting, office admin, office manager, staff, transaction coordinator. There is a document that outlines all of the role types and what those roles give users access to within the system. So please reference that document if you have any questions. But for the purpose of enrolling an agent, you'll notice that this agent that we're currently creating is still in pending status. And that's related to when we first went through and updated their account tab and saved the profile, really created the profile. Now, in order to create an agent in the system, they do have to have a credit card on file, which is what we did in the billing area. So the only way to enroll an agent and give them full access to the system is for them to have a credit card on file. Now, once that's been complete, you have access to come up to the top and approve the user. Now, by approving the user, what occurs here is the system validates that all of the required fields have been filled out, and it also sends the username, password, and a link to the site to the agent. So the agent has now been successfully onboarded through Zone. Now, because we are in staging again, I'm going to go ahead and manually refresh just so you can see that pending status removed from their profile. And I'll go back to the settings area, and you'll notice that now the agent has been enrolled and the pending status has been removed. Thank you for watching this video. There are many other videos available to you that go into the billing portion, some of the other portions that I've mentioned in more detail. We hope you enjoy the new system. Thank you.